But let's just say this, Grayson. Someone says someone's a biological man. They're super muscular. They don't wear women's clothing. They don't present as a woman at all. They identify as a woman. Okay? They just declare it so. Now, are you saying that someone like me, right, when I'm walking my daughter in public and she sees what looks like to her as a male who she identifies categorically as a man, dressed in a suit, strong, wide shoulders, has a sports team pin on, all the shit you listed as something that's categorically man oriented. When she says, "Daddy, look at that man," are you saying she's lying?
No, she's just probably mistaken, and understandably so. And if that person like heard that and said, actually, I identify as a woman, then you could, it depends. Like, if you want to respect other people, then you could teach your daughter that and say, look, like, that's how they identify. It's a nice thing to do to use those pronouns.
If telling my daughter to identify that man,
to other people.
Hold on, no. If I tell my daughter to identify that as a man, but that occurs to her as a lie, why should she do it?
If she wants to be nice and respectful to other people around them.
So people should lie for other people's feelings? So what makes their feelings better than the feelings we get for having to lie? Why is one more valuable than the other, Grayson?
It just depends. It just depends on whether or not you want to raise your daughter to be a conscientious person.
That didn't answer the question. Are they being conscientious of my daughter forcing her? Hold on, Grayson, listen to me. Stop interrupting me. I asked you a question. Are they being conscientious of what goes on internally for myself and my daughter and people who think like me to force us to lie, right? I'm asking you a question, Grayson. Why is the feelings of the man who's dressed like a man, who's a biological male, saying, call me a woman, what makes their feelings more important than the internal conflict we experience by lying? Tell me what's distinguishable about the other that makes it more valuable that we bend the knee. Tell me.
Look, if you are in such internal anguish at just the thought of properly using...
That's an assertion. It doesn't answer the question. His phone must have died.
So deep,
where is he?
That
doesn't answer the question.
You know what? You can have a little special boy, little hall pass, little exemption just for JimBob because he feels just too strongly just having to use people's pronouns that they want to identify.
Grayson, can you now swap everything you said about me and make it about the trans person who wants me to speak in a certain way? For good faith.
You're the whiny little snowflake.
No.
At the end of the day, you're the one
the whiny. Okay, so asking someone to use pronouns and language that doesn't comport with their internal reality framework, that's considered a lie from their ideological and religious standpoint. You're saying they're the whiny babies. I asked you kindly to just restate that, but use it for the other person. Listen, Grayson, I'll tell you how it sounds. Are these people so petty and so weak and their internal structure is so broken that they have to force people, and if they don't affirm their identity that's internalized only, that's grounded in nothing but their own mind, are you saying that they can't live without people affirming their own internal identities?
See, here's the difference, JimBob, is that...
What's the difference? Case, I asked for that first.
People like you... I'm literally going into it. You don't interrupt me. I let you just talk, man. Let me answer here. Because I only have 4% here. So, look, people like you... I'll just make this my conclusion statement here. People like you are actually not undergoing all of this internal suffering at just trying to use pronouns that people identify as. Really? Whereas trans people, there is actual genuine suffering that trans people go through in society. Gender dysphoria is an actual terrible amount of suffering that people go to.
Right.
So if you actually
is gender dysphoria delusion? Is gender dysphoria delusional? Is gender dysphoria? Okay, great. Grayson.
And
Grayson, I love your speech. I love your speech.
Or a bigot about it.
I love your speech, but is gender dysphoria a delusion?
Called a bigot and an asshole.
Is gender dysphoria? You're coping. You're coping. Is gender dysphoria a delusion?
Oh, I'm coping.
Is gender dysphoria a delusion?
I don't know, man. It's in the DMSM.
Okay, great.
It actually is a psychological state of
great.
And trauma.
Are there people who see things,
or not.
dude? Are there people who see things that don't exist?
Yeah.
Okay, so when someone says there's something over there, now should I affirm that there's something over there, or should I affirm to them that they're just imagining that it's okay? Which one should I do?
It depends on the patient. Sometimes they say that you're supposed to just acknowledge their delusions. Sometimes you can point it out. Sometimes you're supposed to go along with it. It depends on the person, I'm told.
Okay, so in this event,
I don't know,
how do you know?
But honestly, man, I'm at 3% battery life right now.
Wait, go till it dies.
Conclusion. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, one more question. If it depends on the person, how are we supposed to know whether it's harmful, helpful, or neutral to affirm someone else's internal delusion? From my point of view, teach my kids to affirm something that doesn't comport with their framework or their religious views. How are you supposed to know, depending on the person, when you're supposed to entertain their views or not, right, Grayson?
Well, you could either listen to other people or you could listen to the science, which shows that it does make an impact whenever trans people are validated by the social, people, the relationships around them.
How do you, dude, that doesn't answer the question. I asked you, how do you know when it doesn't?
I said it.
I asked you, how do you know when it doesn't?
The other person, I said, listen to other people. The other person could tell you.
That's what's in question,
dude. Be respectful of other people around you.
Okay, let's do this one more time.
A controversial statement. Just be respectful of others.
No, you be respectful of me, who doesn't want to affirm something that occurs to me as a lie. You don't respect me, Grayson. You're a hypocrite.
It's
you guys are such little.
Not a lie.
It is a lie from my internal framework. You even from your physicalist view, Grayson, if everything's reduced to internal frameworks,
sure.
Just like Andrew demonstrated,
no, I acknowledge that.
Listen, you can't tell me I'm lying.
I acknowledge
if everything I'm saying is an internal conflict to affirm something that I don't believe in, you're telling me I should.
I agree.
Should I?
I agree that within your moral framework, you might consider that it's a lie. But the thing is that you're incorrect and can be proven and demonstrably so empirically.
No, I can't. No, because it's arbitrary, just like the fan
no,
example.
It can't. Great freaking comeback.
You can't prove to someone's a man or a woman. You can't prove it.
It's in their brains. It's being generated by their brains.
You can't. How do you prove someone's a man or a woman, Grayson? It's a social construct. You can't find a social construct. How do you comport a brain activity with a social construct and say that it's true?
Because it's being generated by the brain. Your concept of gender identity is currently, right now, being generated in your brain, and it can be measured.
What is it comporting with that's real such that you can say it's true? Out in the world.
It is in the category, the gender identity currently being generated is of the category of male or woman or in between, or man or woman or in between, or whatever. It's the actual nature of that pattern.
Dude, no, the data in the brain is referring to something external in the world you call a social construct, how men and women are expected to behave, dress, wear, how they stand, all this stuff, right? I'm saying, what is it in the external world that you're saying the neurological system is reflecting? If the thing that it's reflecting is a total fiction construct.
Let me explain. So I know you're not going to like this, but please bear with me for just 1 second with it, okay? Because we acknowledge that the thing that made something red versus blue or whatever is the frequency of light, and that's an objective thing or whatever. But the thing that makes the gender identity man or woman is that it's a slightly different pattern of the circuitry in the brain generating that gender. So it's the actual characteristic, the physical shape of the pattern is different between a gender identity that's being generated for a man or versus a woman, in the same way that the frequency is different for blue versus red.
Okay, great. So you're saying in the brain there's a physical pattern, and the pattern, you look at it visually and you say that's a man, and you look at another one, it says that's a woman, right? I'm saying, what are you referencing out in the world to know to label that a man or a woman?
The social construct in society.
So brain activity.
You would establish you basically establish a sample size of like known men, known women based on the cultural situation, and that would be your two baselines that you would then compare that brain against.
That's great. So look, I'll give you a little fun example here. Someone goes in, they get their brain activity in America.
Dude, my phone is about to die too.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So the person gets their brain activity. The doctor says, "You're a man." We looked at the brain activity. In our hypothetical of going to another country, they go to another country. The doctors in that country look at the same exact pattern, and you're saying that it could be not a man in the other country?
Sure, yeah. If the country is different, then the baseline is going to be different.
And
it could be more similar to the other country's baseline.
Yeah. Okay. So there's no actual standard to refer to.
Things are different in different countries?
Do you
is this a new thing that you've never come across before? That concepts can have different connotations in different countries?
You have no idea what you have no idea what you just did to your own position. But thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, Grayson. Come back anytime. Okay.
People know that different concepts are different in different countries. Like, this is very common. Cool. Anybody that travels knows this.
Great. So 2 doctors, right?
Well, hey, it was a pleasure talking with you, JimBob. Real pleasure as always.
Yeah. No problem.